Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Internet Economics Podcast. Today, I am on the call with Tyler Anderson, President and CEO of NoBugs. If you guys are on, Tyler, introduce yourself.
Hi, Tyler here. No Bugs, Santa Clarita, Los Angeles, California.
All right, and tell us a little bit, Tyler. What is your current company size at right now? How many routes do you guys have? How long have you guys been in business? Give us the 101 on NoBugs.
Yeah, I got involved in the pest control business 27 years ago. Opened up my first termite and pest control business back in a month before 9/11. We took that business and went from 2 people up to 80 some people, doing about 5 million a year. We had the crash that came around 2008, 2009. We kind of reinvented ourselves, went from a termite company to a pest control business model, and with that, we went down to 4 employees. Today, we're at 12.
Okay, wow. So, what do you think has been the main driver in bringing you to about 12 employees?
Not wanting more than 6. The key behind that is I realized in the first model of our business, it required so many employees to get so much work done that when that crash came in 2008, it was like a self-cleaning oven for the business. It was able to identify where we had inefficient practices, where things just weren't happening the right way. So we reinvented the business, changed how we did some things. We were able to get about 3 times as much done with 12 people than we would have before with 20, 30 people.
So, we're actually in a recession right now, and you guys are absolutely killing it. So, what has been those main differentiators from the last crash versus this recession, and why do you think that difference has been made? You guys been able to thrive in this economy versus struggling during the last one?
You know, the last time we leveraged everything. We leveraged our finance, we leveraged credit. We had 30 some vehicles, we had multiple employees. Our OAR, our overhead allocation rate, was so high that we really had to take every single customer that came. And then when the customer stopped, we were left with high overhead. We didn't have much fluctuating cash coming in the business, and we were forced to basically bring things down. So when we redid it, we changed some things. Everything we did it in stages. We grew in a smaller growth pattern that allowed for profitability. And that was another thing we did different. We actually created the profit margin as part of the expense of every single job so that every job paid for growth.
Okay, so the way that you're able to combat that is that if you already include the profit margin into the cost of any sale, you know that you're always making a profit. So then when
Exactly.
something bad does happen, you kind of have that to combat it. And I'm assuming there's always these items that do pop up, so that's probably giving you like a cushion layer in a sense.
Yeah, it allowed us to create a rainy day fund. It allowed us to create an environment where we didn't leverage anything. Everything we have today, everything is paid for. We don't finance and leverage anything of that sense.
Okay, so what were those main financing vehicles that you that probably drove the most difficulties in your business prior versus now? What was that big shift? Like, how were you able to not use that and not leverage yourself today versus back then? How are you able to avoid that?
Well, one is employee expense. Obviously, labor is a huge expense, but then you have to have multiple vehicles. In pest control, we have to have a vehicle to drive to the customer's property to treat it, or termite control, we have to drive to it. So how the question was, how could we get $1 million a year done with 5 employees instead of 30, or instead of 20 employees? What could we do different in pest control? How could we reduce our labor pool? How could we get employees quicker? How could we get onboard them quicker, train them quicker, get them licensed quicker? How could we get them to do 30 jobs in a day versus 10 jobs a day? So not only is it reducing the labor pool, but it's getting more out of the labor that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people don't realize that every employee you have, especially like in the office, you'll have to have a desk, a computer, or a workstation, a bigger office. So we had 30 people alone, 27 in the office at one time. Now we have 4 people in the office doing the same amount of work. So creating automated systems, getting more out of the people working with the customers, simplifying our business systems is really what helped a lot.
I think you definitely touched on a lot of points there. So let's kind of break that down for a second. So you mentioned three main things that added to the business was one, getting more work out of your employees. How can they do a smaller amount of employees accomplishing the same amount of work? Two, you mentioned automations as well. So let's kind of first jump into that first part here is how are you able to get 4 or 5 employees to do the same amount of work as 30 employees?
In the pest control business, typically we show up to a house, it's a truck, it has a trailing hose. You can only go halfway around the property before you circle back and go the other halfway of the property because you have that hose. You can't go all the way around the property and walk back to the truck. So that was an inherent problem. Customers in our industry generally will tell the pest control company, I want Thursday because my pool guy, or I want this day because that's when my mail is done, or that's when my dog is walked, or that's when I'm gone with work. So they'll zigzag across the city to go treat a customer whenever they want, which is understandable. But there's a problem in both of those situations. It limits the time. We all have the same amount of time in the day, right? Maybe 12 hours or 10 hours in a working day. So how can we get more done in better time? So we developed our own backpack. It's basically like lithium ion battery powered backpack that allows us to spray at the same volume or same power, the same rate as a traditional pest control company that has that trailing hose. With a backpack on, we can just put the chemical, the product in it, go around the house and spray. It allowed us to spray a home and treat a home on average 7 to 10 minutes, whereas our competitors and even ourselves in the beginning were taking almost 45 minutes to do a home. The second thing
Wow.
we did, yeah, the second thing we did is we would tell the customers, hey, look, we can't do your house on the day you want. We're doing your neighbor's house on this Monday or this Tuesday or this next Friday. And we pre-schedule our customers and we assign them a treatment day based on the density of our route. So it keeps our technicians from having to drive from one side of the city to another.
So that's really creative. So let's go into that backpack portion for a second. So you sell these backpacks to other companies? If someone's watching, could they reach out to No Bugs and say, "Hey, I want one of your backpacks"?
You know, I did go down that path. I tried it. I like to build things. I love to create things. I love to invent processes that make things better. I actually don't care about killing bugs myself. I just want to do things to make people's lives better. So I came up with this backpack, tested it with my company. It worked awesome. I created this huge website. I got this huge manufacturing process in my warehouse ready to go. Had all the molds, had everything sent over from the different countries, and I built about 80 of them.
Wow.
It was great. It was fun. But the problem is my competitors, my competition, my industry, they wouldn't buy them. They
They
wouldn't
want
buy
to
'em.
buy them.
No, and that's the best part about the secret behind No Bugs is that the technicians, my industry believes that if they're going to charge you $150 for a service, they believe they need to stay there for an hour to get their money's worth. But really, the end result should be the same. That's why we named the company No Bugs. Whether I'm there 10 minutes, whether I'm there an hour or 10 hours, the end result should be the same. When,
Wow.
when
Wow.
employees
So you
perform
could
for us,
almost, either sell these to other companies or something. That's probably why you're taking over. So you were able to get the cost down from the backpacks themselves, but then also you're able to get the cost down even further because you're now no longer seeing one person on one side of the city on Thursday and another part of the city on Tuesday. You're able to get it all in the same route, which then at the end of the day, people sounds like they are kind of indifferent to how their bugs die as long as they don't have any.
right? Exactly.
Wow. Okay. And what does that pricing look like for a standard pest control company versus us?
So the standard pest control company, they do a process of what's called pay to spray. Every time they come to your home, they're going to spray your house. You pay $150. We changed that. I didn't like that model. It creates a very love-hate relationship with the client. Every time you see me, I'm showing up at your house. I'm taking $150. I'm spraying some toxic pesticide that smells really bad. You have to leave. You're doing this because you don't want bugs, and you have to write a check. The business model is now that I show up and we're dealing with those issues, I now have to upsell other things. If you
Mm-hmm.
have any other problems, I'm now asking more money from you. So while they love to see you come because it means they're not going to have bugs, at the same time, the industry customers were like, no, stay away. I just don't like this. When we created our process, it was a little different. To answer your question specifically about the price model, we
Mm-hmm.
developed a membership process
Mm-hmm.
where it's $36 a month for unlimited service all year long. It includes things and insects that most other companies would charge extra for. We developed our own pesticide called Mintex. We developed our own backpacks. All these things combined, basically, we allowed our customers to have better service, a better product. We don't upcharge. We have a fixed price. It doesn't change, and it's cheaper than the competition. We're $108 a service or $36 a
Mm-hmm.
month, whereas the others are $150 a month.
Okay, yeah. So bring the cost down by around what is that, 70 or 80%? What are the numbers amount to? Okay, And $36 a month. So then, what does the profit margin on that look like if you're trying to bring it down? Or are you just getting so many clients incoming that you can just, it doesn't even matter because as long as you're monopolizing it, what does that look like? Do you worry about that profit margin or you already had it built in earlier?
Yeah, no, I go by the rules of three in a business. So
Mm-hmm.
my cost of labor should not exceed 30%.
Mm-hmm.
My overhead allocation rate should not exceed 30%, and that leaves 30% for profitability for growth and management in the business.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's very interesting. Okay, so that was on the backpack portion of things. Then we also had the other parts of the question where you said you're able to reduce labor as well. So using automation. So how are you able to reduce your labor via automation?
So in the industry, again, what would happen is a customer would call up, ask questions about a pest control service or product from a company. They would send a technician out to the home where they'd meet the client, talk to him, explain it. Whether or not
Mhm.
they signed up the customer, sold the job or the service, nobody knew. Then they would just go to appointments all day long. You have a labor cost of paying them throughout the day, the travel cost, the expense of a vehicle. If we could change that and do it in house, actually have the customers call us, we explain everything over the phone, sell the job over the phone, get everything done over the phone, use Adobe Sign, create digital signatures, email them to the customers. Before we even set foot on a customer's property, we'll have an
Mhm.
agreement. They'll know exactly what they're getting, when they're getting it, how they're getting it. They know exactly how much it's going to cost. They've agreed to it, and they've already given us their financial information so we can charge the job. Then when we send our inspector there, he's not going there wondering if the job's going to get done. He knows the job's going to get done. He goes there,
Mhm.
identifies the pest. There's some legal things that we have to do in California. He goes, identify the pest, communicates to the customer, and goes ahead and does the job. So we can
Mhm.
do 30 jobs a day by doing just that alone, whereas other companies will do 8 to 10 initial treatments a day.
Okay, so that's just not how you reduce costs, but also tripled output as well.
Yeah.
So if you kind of do the math on it, you multiplied output of workers by three, you multiply productivity of the backpack by three, you cut down cost of workers by what is that? 30 going down to five workers. Is that like 80 some percent? And if you multiply all that together, you almost 50x times your business just by applying these different strategies, which is incredible to hear. So when you were starting off these programs, I know you've been doing it for a while, but at least, what about someone getting started? How does someone get started in the pest control industry, or how did you get started?
Yeah, I didn't like pest control. I was actually in the termite. I was going to go to school. I wanted to be a doctor. And a buddy of
Mhm.
mine said, "Hey, man, you can talk to strangers. You like talking to people. Come try some sales. Try some door to door stuff. You'll love this." And I did. I fell in love with it. I loved the business. I
Mhm.
love selling. I love talking to people. I love solving people's problems. And
Mhm.
when I got into the business, I saw the industry really just lacked innovation. It was the
Mhm.
same. They were doing the same thing for the last 20 years before even I had started.
Mhm.
The problem with that is you're stuck in that business. You have
Mhm.
to step out of the comfort zone. You have to be willing to risk some new ideas and try it. So when I got into the business, that's exactly what we did regarding our termite, our pest control treatment, how we were going to do things. For instance, we don't pay commission of our technicians. A lot of companies they pay commission because they
Mhm.
only do 9 or 10 properties a day. In order to
Mhm.
pay a wage and get them to make them profitable, they have to pay a commission to, and basically to give them a carrot to work for.
Mhm.
We didn't do that. We pay salary. We pay a very high salary. It covers a huge compensation plan.
Mhm.
Our employees, after 5 years, actually get a Mercedes to take home for their wife or girlfriend or whatever they want to do. So it's kind of
Mhm.
nice. The idea behind it is reduce your payroll, get more done from the employees, and put the savings onto the customer. So
Mhm.
work hard. To answer your question is, how do you get started?
Mhm.
Work hard. Yes,
Mhm.
bill for a profit. Just because you can sell the job at 150 doesn't mean you should sell it for 150. There's a principle
Mhm.
that says if you work hard, show up on time, and you can afford profitability, and you're cheaper than your competition, you're better than your competition, you'll win every single customer.
Okay, that's kind of like a great blue ocean strategy as well because you were cheaper than everyone else. And not only that, it sounds like you're able to recruit some of the top competition among all your competitors in the area. Because if you're giving them the highest salary, no.
No, that's the bad. That's
Mhm.
another thing. We don't want our competition. We don't want employees from our competition because they're
Mhm.
so ingrained in doing things a certain way. We
Mhm.
actually um, we actually go to Amazon to get their employees. What we
Really?
notice, yeah, what we
Mhm.
notice with Amazon is very similar to pest control. You see, if I get a guy from Orkin, I have to untrain his habits at Orkin. If I get a guy from Terminix, I have to untrain their habits, get them to do it completely different. Our mindset of doing pest control is radically different from most mainstream pest control companies. So I don't want those employees. I want employees that have focused on customer service but never done pest control before. You know, waiters are great. Bus boys are great. Amazon drivers are great. They understand quick turnaround. They understand customer service with quick turnaround. Amazon drivers are great. They've already got a clean driving record. They have a commercial, in essence, sometimes a commercial driver's license. They understand that there's a route they have to follow. They have to drop the package off quick, go to the next property. So what we do is we found a local gas station while the Amazon drivers fill up with gas in the morning, and we created a marketing plan to onboard Amazon drivers.
Wow. Okay. So, to summarize what you're saying, you're taking Amazon drivers because they already know routes. They're already very familiar with meeting deadlines and being able to accomplish these types of goals. And very similarly with the waiters and busboys, and they can just pretty much meet any types of timelines, which helps increase the productivity even more.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, that that is very interesting. And don't you also have some type of chemical that's like all natural as well, just to add the cherry on top?
Yeah. So my daughter was born. She had some, I say, some birth defects, some serious allergies to things. And
Mm-hmm.
we had a termite pest control business, and we were getting her ready to leave for the day. And I put her in her car seat, buckled her in, and I saw this black thing with this very bright yellow canary couch. I saw this dark thing on it. I thought it was some fuzz, so I took a blanket and just kind of whipped it. And as it went through the air, it landed on her and it crawled away. It was a
Mm-hmm.
spider. After I took her out of the seat looking for the spider, I killed it, and it was a black widow. My wife saw that, and she just flipped out. She's like, "What is a black widow doing inside our house on our daughter? We have a pest control business." But we didn't want to spray traditional pesticides on our home because of what we had in our environment with my daughter's health. So we looked for a different way to do it. And I came up with a botanical mixture that worked really well but smelled horrible. So
Mm-hmm.
after about 8 months of trying different essential oils, we found something that finally worked. A concoction of mint, geranol, rosemary, and even vanilla, and we'll mix it with a small, low-impact synthetic product, and it creates a synergistic effect. So it's about an inch in a football field compared to most synthetic products as far as toxicity. Smells great, but really just knocks the snot out of the bugs. It does great at controlling the bugs around the home, and we own it, so nobody else can use it but us.
Okay, and then how does that behave with like pests and animals? Do they react well to it? Because I know that sometimes there's a volume of people out there looking for pet-friendly pest control companies.
Yeah, no effect on everything we use. Actually, is safe when used according to the label. The state of California, even if you use milk, if you use water or butter to kill
Mm-hmm.
bugs, they require everybody and animals to be inside a home or away from the treatment area until it's dry. So we have to tell our customers, you can re-enter the treatment area when it's dry, but it's essential oils. Believe it or not, it's actually EPA exempt. It's food grade cooking pesticide if you want to use it for that.
That's so creative. I've never met anyone that could just take completely organic substances and then create it into a whole new pesticide, something that's meant to kill things, but it only kills bugs. That definitely does take a level of ingenuity there for sure. So okay, so we kind of covered the basis here. We'll kind of work our way up here. So you said starting off as a pest control company, maybe get into sales at another one, and then kind of be able to scale up that way because you got to know sales and you got to be able to talk to people. Now, what would you say to all maybe like the mid tier, pest control companies on, where do they find maybe the most problems in their business that you've been able to overcome?
Go get the book, The E Myth.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Michael Gerber. It is absolutely the best book you could ever read for business.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I was in my process of wanting to be in the medical field. I discovered that I didn't really want to be a doctor and stuck in a hospital all day. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought I'd be a fireman. I went to the fire academy, graduated the fire academy, got a job as a fire department, started my own business, consulting thing for the termite pest control side that I had already had established myself. And what I realized was the standard operating procedures found in a fire department were exactly the same mindset as the book by Michael Gerber, The E Myth. And that there's a myth that because we're good at baking, we can open up a bakery and sell baked goods. Because we're good at killing bugs, we can open up a pest control company. But advertising, marketing has nothing to do with killing bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Cash flow management, investments within your business, hiring employees, training employees, managing costs have nothing to do with killing bugs. So there's an entrepreneurial myth, which is why it's called e-myth. This is because you're good at a job, you naturally are going to be good at the business of the job. So what this
Mhm.
book does is it really breaks it down. It puts it into compartments of what a business is, how you run a business, and how you
Mhm.
create systems. You know, when I was in the fire department, every time I jump off a truck, every single member of the team knew exactly what their job was. They knew exactly what tool they'd take, either to the fire or to the medical call. Well, our business here at No Bugs is run the same way. Everybody knows every day exactly what they have to do, how they have to do it, when they have to do it. We have
Mhm.
systems in place to catch them doing it well, and systems in place to help them improve if needed. So by doing it this way, it really helps you manage the business at every level with systems.
Okay, and then we're kind of moving into the media section of this now. Is that where do you consume media? Do you have to stay up to date on pest control, or where do you hang out at to consume information to continue growing your company?
Yeah, no, pest control's been around since the end of World War II. It actually exists because World War II ended. There were a lot
Mhm.
of doctors that had made chemical weapons for purposes of warfare that found themselves out of a job after World War II. There was a
Mhm.
big boom in the United States for farming, but the insects were eating it. So they hired these doctors to make pesticides to control. And that's the history of pest control. And it really hasn't changed. There's not much in our industry as far as continuing to grow with trends because
Mhm.
insects, biologically, they don't change. Find an insecticide, spray an insecticide, it kills insects. How you
Mhm.
communicate to the customers or how you communicate it to your employees and grow your business, that's a whole nother ballgame in marketing and advertising.
Yeah, I once heard someone mention to me that if you use, and this is like even with humans too, if you use a medicine on someone for too long or over a generation of people, that medicine will no longer work. And you mentioned that about pesticides, is that it'll continue to kill them. Is there any scenarios where the cockroach spray doesn't work as well as it used to, or how does that happen?
There's a theory out there that says that if you continue to use the same type of pesticide,
Mhm.
maybe something that affects their nervous system, that
Mhm.
they'll eventually will grow tolerant to it and it won't kill them. I've been doing it for 20 years and I haven't seen
Mhm.
that happen. If you think about it, you kill multiple generations of insects every year, but they
Mhm.
keep coming back. They've been coming back for years.
Mhm.
I haven't seen them develop a resiliency towards the pesticides that are on the market today.
Yeah, bugs are just talking stories down the family tree through tradition. Oh, no bugs. They've been haunting our family for generations, and
Yeah.
then you guys killed them. So let's see here. So yeah, what other books would you recommend overall? You said E Myth. What I would say top three books have helped you scale your business the most.
I would say E-Myth definitely is number one. The
Hmm.
second book is Good to Great.
Hmm.
Excellent, excellent book. Um,
And what's that about? Just briefly.
it basically looks at businesses that and their idea of how are you good, are you great? How are you going to go from good to great? And it
Hmm.
basically took case studies of other big businesses that went from good to great, businesses that are great, businesses that stayed good. Similar to the
Okay.
E-Myth, it just breaks it down to the basic principles of why do you exist? What's your
Hmm.
purpose in your business? If your purpose is to make a lot of money and sell and be profitable, your
Hmm.
employees pick up on that, your customers pick up on that, and unfortunately, it's just not long term.
Okay. All right. And then what would you say is number three out of that?
You know, I really appreciate the biography on Elon Musk. You know,
Hmm.
I've always maybe whether or not you like his personality or his political viewpoints is aside from here, but the fact that he had an idea, the fact that he worked hard to accomplish an idea that maybe other people thought he was insane. Reuse a rocket? No way, that's impossible. Nobody would ever
Hmm.
do that. And now he's reusing the same rocket 200 times. He's had 200 flights up and down where they reuse rockets. It's
Hmm.
amazing. And that's kind of what I ran into in my pest control business. Everybody said you could not do a botanical or an
Hmm.
all natural or a less synthetic based process. Everyone said you
Hmm.
can't do a membership. Everyone said you can't do an all inclusive membership program for $36 a month. And yet
Hmm.
that book was absolutely huge. It just teaches you that other people can think out of the box, so can you. Just work hard to do it.
I definitely think you make a good point there about risk taking. That everyone's afraid. I find that there's two different types of people. There's people that want to reinvent the wheel too much, and there's people that don't want to change anything about the wheel. And I definitely think that's really interesting that you've been able to take these types of risks, and thus it paid off very well for your company. If you can almost break down mathematically, say with testing a new botanical to try in your business, was that a significant investment, or what has been, I guess, the most significant investment or risk in terms of that, for innovation purposes?
Advertising.
Advertising has been the biggest.
Advertising a new idea, a new concept. Because now you
Mm-hmm.
have to not just advertise, you got to get people to click on it. You got to get people interested. You have to untrain the market. You have to
Mm-hmm.
reteach the market. Get them to understand it. Get them to see your passion, your drive behind it. Get them to believe in you. They said that definition of a sale is the transfer of enthusiasm. How do you do
Mm-hmm.
that? Back in the day, 20 years ago, we were newspaper ads. You had to be in the first four pages, top left-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner. You had to be
Mm-hmm.
no bugs pest control in the phone book. But nowadays, it's internet. Now it's YouTube, it's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's all these
Mm-hmm.
micro media processes. And then you have the big ones like Google search engines and Bings. You have to differentiate yourself. You have to put yourself out there. So how you change your message, what you're going to put on there, what picture, what words you're going
Mm-hmm.
to use, how you're going to use it, where you're going to place it, when you're going to place it. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. That's the biggest, hardest challenge in essence that I think face businesses today.
So when you first took your advertising risk, how long did it take you to when you were first starting up? I'm talking about years ago. How long did you finally see the payoff from it? What was like the timeline for that?
It was my first business. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what I was doing, so it was
Mm-hmm.
long. It
Mm-hmm.
took about 3 to 4 years before we really just went bang, and then we hired an ad agency.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed when we hired them, good company, love them, still talk with the owner to this day. Um, they had one way of doing things. We were doing our way. Our way worked. Their way worked. But what we
Mm-hmm.
found was between the two of them, it worked awesome. They,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, in print ads, they wanted to have a lot more data, a lot more explanation. I've always
Mm-hmm.
been a simplist. The less moving parts, the better. The, the least amount that people have to read or look at clearly communicates. So there
Mm-hmm.
was a homogenous process between the two that we realized probably in the fourth year. And when we did it and we put it together and we tried it with 3 or 4 different ads,
Mm-hmm.
the phones just rang. We
Mm-hmm.
we hit our 5 million mark within 2 years after that. At that point.
Wow. Okay. And would you say that advertising has changed back then to today? And if so, what has been like the major changes that you've noticed?
Well, yeah, nowadays people don't even want to look at the minimal. They just, they want to look at a Google ad. They see the top three. They know
Mm-hmm.
those top three are paid for. So then they'll go
Mm-hmm.
down to the bottom, maybe. The people who are naturally resistant to sales, they won't go to those top three. They're going to want to go and see who's number four, five, six, and seven. So how can
Mm-hmm.
you get a paid ad up here to say no bugs? But how can you get your page organically to rank in the top page, maybe 4 or 5 positions? So then they see two spots there. And then they'll
Mm-hmm.
click on one of the two, or they'll click on the free one. They'll charge you for the $20 for the click on this one. But then when they
Mm-hmm.
land on the page, it doesn't match the ad.
Mm-hmm.
If it matches the ad and they make the phone call, does what the person say on the phone match what they saw on the web page, match what they saw on the ad? If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that marketing in place, you're throwing your money down the drain.
I definitely agree, especially in this industry, because people just want their bugs gone, and whatever's usually the quickest route to get that is probably what's best for them. And you guys are great at that. You guys, I believe, have some of the longest hours as well, and you have the fastest response time. So it's almost like the quickness of the outcome in this scenario really plays a large role in your business.
Oh, it's huge, huge. We have a
Mm-hmm.
new process we're starting this summer that an app made for our customers that they can
Mm-hmm.
literally just push a button on their own private phone, and within 30 minutes or less, we'll have a technician to your house to spray whatever bug you're having a problem with. No phone call, no email, no texting, no nothing. Just push a button. We know who you are, and we'll be there.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. What's been like the most obscure marketing that's worked for you? Something that people just wouldn't think of.
So early on, my first business partner, I don't, we're not partners anymore. This is just our own family show. We went to
Mm-hmm.
this gentleman, a nice older gentleman, who made these business cards for us.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "So, what's your slogan, guys? Everybody needs a slogan."
Mm-hmm.
Looked at each other, man, we didn't know what a slogan. We were 19 years old, opening up our first business. And
Mm-hmm.
he just looked at us and he says, "All right, well, how about just we kill bugs?"
Mm-hmm.
And we joked around about it for years. That was the most insane thinking you could possibly do. No, 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 no. It was back in the day. Our first company's name was Dream Makers, Termite and Pest Control. It was a company with a purpose. That was our slogan. And he
Hmm.
said, "No, that's horrible. It's horrible. Nobody understands a company with a purpose. How about we just change it to We Kill Bugs?" And the funny thing is, he was absolutely right. We found out years later, people just wanted the simple message: "What do you do? How's
Hmm.
this going to
Yeah.
work?" So
Yeah.
again, back at it. That's why I named it No Bugs. No, it is what it is. I like to ask employees. Jonathan, I'll ask you too. To put you on the spot, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you go to Home Depot and you buy a drill bit, what do you buy? What do you buy?
I don't know. I go over and I ask the customer service person.
Right. And then you see the drill bits. When you buy a drill bit,
Mhm.
you're not buying a tool. You're buying a hole.
Okay.
It's what the tool does. It's the end result of the tool. It's a hole. So the end result of your pest control company is, his name was John actually. What John said was, we kill bugs. So no
Hmm.
bugs. It smells good and kills bugs. It was amazing. We still laugh about it to this day, but I hope that answered your question. It's just,
No,
it was so,
definitely does. It definitely does. So, you're pretty much dominating Santa Clarita now. What would you say is stopping you from dominating all of America with this new set of just being able to wipe out your whole competition practically?
yeah, that's a good question. I have a good customer of mine. His name is Bruce Munster. Nice guy. He asked me that question a few years ago. Um,
Hmm.
comfort and fear are what
Hmm.
keep people from growing or stepping outside their comfort zone.
Hmm.
Fear of the unknown, or the fact that they're comfortable now, they don't want to be uncomfortable. So if I were to choose one of those things, I think I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. I work
Hmm.
maybe 1 or 2 days a week. I oversee the business. We have a general manager who works hard. We have the employees that work really hard. But
Hmm.
I spend a lot of time with other things in my personal life and with my
Hmm.
family. So
Well,
we can
then
do it.
that almost opens up the question as have you ever thought about licensing or open up a franchise where someone like me in Florida could start a pest control company, and then you have all these huge differentiators. You have the backpack, you have the different type of bug killer, you have all these different types of ways you guys do business, and you're the cheapest. What if someone came to you and they say, Tyler, we want to franchise this? Would you be open to that?
That's a good question. My buddy Bruce, customer of mine, had asked that question. And years ago, it was about 5 years ago, I was like, no, I don't want to go down that road. Who wants a franchise? I don't want to do that. 2 years ago, I actually started the process of getting it ready for franchise, where we have turnkey marketing, turnkey advertising. We actually found a message that when we turn it on, people respond. We know exactly how to mix the chemicals. We can onboard somebody who's never done pest control before and get them licensed within 30 days. I've been doing it 27 years. I can go spray a house the way I've been doing it 27 years, and within 30 days, I can take a group of employees and have them duplicate my results with less than 30 days of on the job training. And it all comes back to that book, E-Myth. We took every single thing we do in our business, from the way the phone is answered, our marketing, our advertising message, the way the phone is answered, the way we show up to a customer's house, every single thing is documented. I'm not a baker, but if you hand me the exact recipe and the instructions how to make a chocolate cake, I could do that. And I think you could too. Well, what if I hand you a binder that was 8 inches thick that had every single detailed instruction of how to duplicate the success we've had here in Santa Clarita? So 2 years ago, we started that. We're done. We're done with it. They're called action plans, no bugs action plans. We have action plan for every step, every facet of no bugs. So you can basically turn on the advertising. You can get the backpacks. You can get the product, the Mint X that we use, and that point you have a business ready to go that completely is different from any of your competitors. So if there's a community out there that has bugs, if there's somebody out there interested in a franchise, there's some legal steps we still have to go through to get ready for that. But at the operational level, we're completely done. We finished it last year.
So what would that turnaround time be if I reached out to you today and I said I want to start up one of these in Florida? What would that look like from start to finish, time length, and then steps to get there?
I think the biggest lesson in business I've learned over the years is being okay to say I don't know or I don't have an answer for that. And at this
Mm-hmm.
point, a question like that, I really don't know. There's some legal steps you have to go through before you can franchise it. I did meet with one of our attorneys last year about it, and she started showing me everything that has to be done. If that were all done, I
Mm-hmm.
would tell somebody that the minute you have a truck, the minute you have a backpack, and the advertising is on, you'll
Mm-hmm.
make profit day number one, guaranteed.
Yeah, and kind of what I've seen is that's a very realistic outcome as well. So I think that's definitely something that everyone will be interested in moving forward. Um, Let me take a quick peek at this here. Um, so, what major problems would you say that you had in your business that you've solved? You said that over leverage, but what have been the biggest problems besides that?
Growing too fast.
Mm-hmm.
When the phones ring, you can't take every single customer. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to let customers go because you'll have a customer that requires so much time, so much attention that because you're giving them that time, that attention, you're missing
Mm-hmm.
opportunities of other customers that don't require the amount of time or attention. And when I mean
Mm-hmm.
requiring time and attention, I actually mean their attitude. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have to take every customer. And if you're not a perfect fit for no bugs, then we want you to call our competitors. We would love for you to go to them. We don't want you here. And that's a hard concept to get to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the hardest part of the business is growing too fast, taking every single customer, not knowing what business to say no to, because now you're forced to just get employees and hire them as fast as possible. And if you're hiring
Mm-hmm.
just anybody, throwing them in, what kind of quality work are you getting? Are you
Mm-hmm.
able to be in the our business is really meeting people's expectations. We're in the business of
Mm-hmm.
meeting expectations. And we can't meet our
Okay.
customers' expectations if you're growing too fast, if you're hiring too fast, and you're not following your business systems for accountability.
Mhm. So, what would happen in this scenario where you do hire too many people because you have this ambition, you want to grow? What would happen in this scenario where you do hire on the wrong people and things do go wrong?
Well, the systems we have in place
Mm-hmm.
identify if somebody after 30 days is not going to be here. And you have to be willing to say, thank you for trying. It's not going to work
Mm-hmm.
out. And you have more people. So definitely got to hire, you got to interview 20 people to hire three people. And then you
Mm-hmm.
let five people know that they're a candidate. You hire the three. And after 30 days, if one of the three aren't cutting it, you go to your number four and your number five person, give them a try.
Okay, so you usually hire in maybe rounds of threes. You like to always make sure that you have a few people to lean on in your hiring process.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then besides like internet marketing, have you found like any partnerships that have given you a lot of leads? Who do you connect with? I don't know if you're even involved in that, but do you have any partnerships that maybe refer leads over to you?
Yeah, we have a lot of, plumbers as they're doing plumbing, they'll see termites. We have contractors as they see termites doing remodels. Carpet
Mm-hmm.
cleaners are big ones. When they start cleaning the carpet, they'll notice certain types of termites or bugs in the carpet and they'll give us a call.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, there's a lot of people on, social media, moms groups that are really into a safer pest control. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we have pet environments, pet stores that have recommended us to customers in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense of it, it's just a social process, yes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not big into groups where you have to meet every Thursday and sit
Yeah,
down.
like a BNI. Yeah.
I don't do that.
So, how did you find that you were getting connected with those people? Was it just time, or did you actually make an active motive to go out and connect with these people, make these partnerships?
It's just been investment of time and just random. Somebody will look us up. They'll call us. They'll say, "Hey, call this guy." When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to contractors, I have
Mm-hmm.
no problem saying thank you to a contractor for giving me a job and recommending me. I have no problem, taking them to lunch, buying them a lunch, saying thank you. It's all about building relationships. What can I do to help you? We have customers that need patio rebuilds, they need bathroom rebuilds, they need kitchens, they need things. So I'm going to recommend contractors that I know recommend me. I'm a good business, and we work really hard for our customers. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that we attract other businesses that do the same. So we've recommended contractors where customers will call us up when the job's done and say, wow, thank you, Tyler. He was great.
Okay. And then how do you get customers excited about pest control? How do you deliver like a star service for when someone calls you up for pest control?
I think the first step is, again, I said earlier, we're in the
Mm-hmm.
business of meeting expectations.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing is be on time.
Mm-hmm.
Be on time. Under promise and over give.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them you're going to kill the bugs. Be on time. And when you show up, bring the trash can in. When you
Mm-hmm.
show up, let them know you found other things around the home that maybe they wouldn't have known. Or how
Mm-hmm.
about just a thank you? I did business with somebody recently, and after I did some business with them, they sent us a box of chocolate cheesecakes. They were really
Yeah.
good. Really good. So I
Yeah.
borrowed that idea from this guy, and I just the other day sent something similar. It was some cookies. But little things like that go a long way because it makes people emotionally connect with you, your business, with the person that made the promise. It's no longer about bugs. It's no longer about marketing or advertising. It's about
Mm-hmm.
building relationships with people.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
that's very well said for sure. So I guess kind of wrapping this all up, and final comments here. What would you say? Um, what would you say is the most important things to gain out of this entire conversation that you would want our viewers to know?
Keep it simple,
Mm-hmm.
work hard, and show up. When you
Okay.
show up, work hard. Keep it simple. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's going to hurt you. Because the
Mm-hmm.
principles of who you are as a business person, as a neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
is what will attract people. And that's the people. Even if I do a job and there's something bad, it doesn't happen much, but if there's a job where a mistake is made and we're going to take a loss, I'll make
Mm-hmm.
sure the loss is it's going to be better for that customer than it ever
Mm-hmm.
was before. Accidents
Mm-hmm.
happen. We're human. A good company is not a company that never makes a mistake. A good
Mm-hmm.
company is a company that makes a mistake and they go beyond fixing it. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's just it. Let your yes mean yes. Work hard, show up, and just say thank you to people. Appreciate people.
Mm-hmm. Very well said, Tyler. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast today. And to everyone out there, stay for the next video, and we'll talk to you soon.